Hello and welcome to Newsmakers on CHCH Podcast. I'm your host, Louie Butko, and today I'm very pleased to be joined by the leader of the Ontario Liberal Party, Crombie. Crombie was first elected as an MP in Mississauga, serving as a Liberal in Parliament for 3 years. In 2011, she was elected as a city councillor, but was endorsed by Hazel McCallion to replace her as mayor, which she eventually won, and then won 2 more terms in 2018 and 2022, increasing her share of the vote each time. In 2023, Crombie announced her candidacy for the Ontario Liberal leadership race, and last month defeated Nathaniel Erskine-Smith, Ted Shue, and Yasir Naqvi for the right to lead the Liberals into the next provincial election in 2026. And Ms. Crombie, very pleased to be joined by you today. And we were just talking a little bit off the top that this is the first Monday in about 10 years in which you are not the mayor of Mississauga. What's that like for you?
Well, I must say it's bittersweet. You know, I love my city and I love my people, but I also think I've left a very strong legacy. We've accomplished so much. You know, we've really taken Mississauga from sleepy suburb, once where we were fruit trees and farmland, to the third largest city with the second largest economy in all of Ontario, a city where the demographics have changed and we have changed, and we embrace height and density and intensification, and we're building housing and attracting new businesses. And I'm very proud of the legacy that I have left, and it's a very strong roadmap for whoever is selected after me to be mayor.
Now, some people may look at your previous job and say, well, you know, the woman who served before you held that role for quite a long time. You had her blessing to run, which you did. You increased your voter total every year. You had just won in 2022. A lot of people would look at that and think, why run for the Liberals? Why leave that job? So I got to ask, Ms. Crombie, why did you want this job?
Because people are hurting. And I thought if I could be the catalyst to make a difference in people's lives, I had a responsibility to do that. I still think politics is a noble profession. I gave back. I got involved to give back to people and make people's lives better. So as mayor, I think I've enriched the community and made people's lives better. And now I'm looking at Ontarians. And life isn't affordable, and this government is moving us towards private medicine and outsourcing everything, including we've just seen Service Canada, Service Ontario locations. They're not investing in our education systems, and they're climate change deniers. They don't have a plan to address the effects of climate change. And I thought if I could make a difference and I could stand up to them and change the path that the province is on, then I had a responsibility to try to do that. So yes, you're quite right. I loved Hazel McCallion. And yes, she came in to give me kind of a quasi-endorsement after the advanced polls had closed, and said that she wanted a woman in a younger generation, and that was great. And as a result, I think my margins were maybe a little bigger. And yes, I grew my popular support with each election. I think the last time was about 78% or close to it. And I'm very proud to have represented the people of Mississauga. They're always going to be near and dear to my heart. And I'll always look at Mississauga as a lens of whether what I'm doing and what I'm recommending is the right thing for the province, because if it benefits Mississaugans, it will benefit one and all across the province.
Let's talk about that Liberal leadership race. You were touting the donations that came in because of that race. As a party, I know $1.2 million is what you guys were celebrating at the end of the month last month. But what did you learn about yourself during that leadership campaign? What did you learn about Ontarians? And what did you learn about the job that you are now tasked to have?
So let me say, with respect to Ontarians, how resilient they are, and how hardworking they are, and how they chose Ontario, many of them, as the place to raise their children because it was the land of opportunity. But that's now changing, and people are struggling. And I thought that, and I, during the leadership race, learned so much, and really listened. I listened to people in the small towns, in the rural communities, in the farming communities. And while the problems were similar everywhere, they were far more acute in the smaller towns in the northern communities. And that's what I heard. And I really honestly can't wait to go back. And for myself, I learned that having a positive vision and being a strong leader that isn't negative served me well. And I think I will always continue on that path to be that positive force, that vision that isn't negative, but provides a positive perspective and a positive change and a positive vision. And I think that's what Ontarians want. They want hope. And they want a vision for positivity, and they want to know that Ontario will be affordable again, that their children will be able to purchase a home once again, that they will have access to healthcare when they need it, and that we will have a strong education system that will better prepare them and their children for the jobs of the future.
You mentioned positive. There was some negative attacks on you. First, when you announced your run for leadership, the PC party immediately putting out a statement, calling you out. And then when you won the leadership, again, immediately there were PC attack ads after you. Why do you think they didn't hesitate to jump? And why do you feel like they needed to attack right away?
I think they're concerned, and they rightly should be concerned, because I think I am a threat to them. I think they know that I'm very popular. I have great name recognition across the province, like the Premier, who's very good at retail politics. So am I. And they're failing. They're floundering, and they don't have a path forward. This is a government that's driving in reverse. And of course, they yield to negativity because that's all they've got at this point. So I think what they're doing is a cover for their own errors. They're attacking me because they have no positive vision. So what we will do as a team is we will provide that very positive direction forward. We will prove to Ontarians that we are a very competent, viable, positive alternative that is trustworthy and ethical, and that we have integrity. Liberalism has been re-energized. The Liberal Party is back.
You mentioned the Liberal Party is back, and looking at the numbers, with 9 of 124 seats at Queen's Park, it's not quite back. So how do you, in your role now, in the next 2 years leading up to 2026, make the Liberal Party relevant again? Because again, 9 seats is not even official party status. What's your plan to reinvent the Liberal Party and make them a popular option come 2026?
To engage, to inspire, to be on the ground, to lead, and to listen. I plan to be on the road a lot, meeting people and listening to them and their plights and their stories, and determining how I can help them, how I can make their lives better. When I got into politics, I made it my mantra each and every day. What am I going to do today to improve people's lives for the better? How will I make lives better? And that's what we will do at the grassroots level. We will act. We will be there. We will be present. There are a couple of things that my fellow colleagues, my counselor, said about me when I was leaving. And I must say I was very humbled what they learned. And they said that I was present on the ground, that I listened, that I was compassionate, and that, of course, that I had a lot of energy. So all very positive things. And I was very humbled by their praise. And we built up some great long-lasting friendships. We have a lot of collegiality. But from what they observed, I think those are the qualities that will serve Ontarians well as well. Somebody who's engaged, who is present, who will listen, who is compassionate and kind, who wants to present a vision of positivity for them to improve their lives, make their lives more affordable, allow their children once again to realize that dream of home ownership. Having healthcare that's accessible to them when they need it, having a strong education system and a plan to address climate change. I see these as the most vital issues. I want to build our economy and make us stronger, just as I've done here in Mississauga. That focus on attracting business and growing our economy here in Mississauga to create jobs, creates prosperity, and allows everyone to thrive. And that would be my same focus as a leader and as a premier.
Now, obviously, you don't have a seat at Queen's Park, but if you did, if you had a chance to ask Doug Ford a question in question period, what would you say? February 17th, you get an opportunity to say something. What would your question be?
Premier, you've misled the people of Ontario. They've placed their faith and their trust in you, and you've broken their trust. You've broken their confidence. You've shown that you are not a leader with integrity by reversing every decision you have made. You haven't consulted the people of Ontario. The time is now to resign. The people have lost their confidence in you. You don't have a path forward. You are under investigation by the RCMP and being probed by ethics and integrity commissioners. How do you intend to lead the province of Ontario and the people of Ontario under so much scrutiny? What is your plan to leave the province in better hands? When will you resign?
Well, you did not hold back with that question, Ms. Crombie. Let's talk about some of his broken promises, one which affected your region as you were mayor, and that being the the reversal on the Peel governance decision. What did you make of that situation as the mayor of Mississauga, as somebody who was there up close and personal? What did you make of Premier Ford's reversal on that decision?
So there are a lot of things that the Premier and I disagree about. But the one thing we do agree on is efficiency in government, cutting red tape, duplication, making government run more efficiently and affordably, and certainly having a second layer of government where you're duplicating infrastructure in various departments and jobs. Anecdotally, you know that would take, that is defined as duplication, red tape, bureaucracy, and additional cost. And clearly there would be cost savings to each of the municipalities should each of them have the ability to stand on their own 2 feet, that the third largest city in the province should stop subsidizing the fourth largest city so that those tax dollars could be invested in their own city. That's the right thing to do, and he knows that, and he made that commitment to us, to the people of Mississauga, to the people of Peel, and to my predecessor, the iconic and beloved Hazel McCallion, and he said so publicly when he eulogized her at her funeral. So it's another broken promise. And that said, there has been a lot of movement with the transition board that he appointed, and I have a lot of confidence in. These are professional people that are tasked to do a job, and they understand the challenges. And I suggest that they be instructed to do their homework, as Hazel McCallion always said, do your homework, and that's something this government doesn't do. They make announcements and then go back and realize they've done the wrong thing because they didn't do their due diligence, didn't study it, and didn't do their homework. So let the transition board do their work to analyze where the efficiencies are, where the cost savings would be, how to cut red tape and eliminate duplication and bureaucracy. Let them do that work, as they have already begun. They've already announced that they're going to bring to the lower tier planning and roads. That'll save Mississauga about $84 million a year. Imagine. That they will likely put wastewater into a service agency so it can be run by an outside board. Again, huge cost savings, but yet seamless delivery of service to our residents. And then the next task at hand would have been to look at health and human services. That work should continue and will continue. So this is really just phase one. This is phase one. If the transition board continues their work and proves they can create the business case to show that all three municipalities will be far better off in the long run without a second layer of government and all that duplication of cost, duplication of jobs, red tape. I mean, the Premier wants us to build housing. It's a second layer of approvals, second layer of analysis just to build more housing by approving our plans once at the city, then going up to the region to have the other municipalities buy in, and another set of staff, another set of planners, another set of transit and public works look at those plans and approve them a second time. Imagine the waste. Imagine the savings that could be generated and the time, the efficiency of time. We could speed up the approval process and build housing faster. That's everyone's goal. You know, this has been an outdated model created by Bill Davis to help the city of Brampton grow. We've done that. We've paid 70% of the cost for Brampton's growth up until the past 10 years. And then Brampton began to grow. And now we're paying about 60% of the costs in Mississauga to fund the region of Peel and fund their growth. And that's money that'd be better spent in our municipality, and Brampton should be investing within their own municipality to stand on their own 2 feet. So this is the right decision. Everyone will be further ahead. There will be cost savings in the long run for everyone, and there will be greater efficiencies, and we will get housing built faster.
You mentioned some of the other issues. Let's jump into healthcare real quick. We've seen a number of protests. We've seen nurses take to the streets. We've taken other healthcare workers. You mentioned the healthcare struggles. We've seen emergency rooms close, including here in Niagara, overnight areas. What's the Liberal plan to get healthcare back on track?
Yeah, we have a very fulsome plan. And listen, I have Dr. Adil Shamji, who was an emergency room doctor and ran hospitals and clinics, and especially in the north for many years. And we have a very comprehensive plan, but the government must invest in healthcare. Right now, they're letting the private sector have their day and open up clinics, and they're getting us used to going to private clinics, taking the best and the brightest, the doctors and nurses, and enticing them to move to private clinics where you'll have to bring your credit card rather than your OHIP card. That is money that needs to be invested in the public healthcare system to make it run more efficiently. And we need to invest in primary care team medicine. We need primary care teams, as we all spoke about during this leadership race. There's so much to be done, but people need access to better healthcare, and that means a bigger investment in our healthcare system, and that's where this government has failed. They said, vote for us and we'll eliminate hallway medicine. But at the end of the day, wait times in hallway medicine has been worsened, not improved by the Ford government.
Let's look ahead to 2026. It seems like it's a far ways away, but I know for you and your party and your leadership team, it's coming up quick, that being 2026. What is your plan for the next 2 years? You mentioned traveling to every corner of this province. Will you run in a by-election if one comes up, maybe in the Mississauga area? What's your plan for the next 2 years?
Well, certainly I'll run in a by-election if it's logical. I mean, I am the mayor of Mississauga, so if there's one in Mississauga or in the GTA, I would certainly consider it. But my plan is to rebuild the party, starting with the grassroots, being present in all the small towns and northern communities. And I'm just looking at my travel schedule now, meeting with Ontario Liberal Party officials and, working very closely with them and my team and my colleagues at Queen's Park. We meet regularly on Tuesdays. We meet delighted. We exceeded the set, and we're skeptics that we could raise that kind of money, but I put my mind to it, and I made sure we not only met that goal, but we exceeded it, and we're going to continue to fundraise at that pace. And of course, then there are candidates to nominate. I have gotten calls and emails and text messages from some of the best and brightest people I've ever met who want to stand for the Ontario Liberal Party in the next election. So there are a lot of people to vet and meet with, a lot of riding associations to meet with, a lot of community groups at the local level to meet with. So there's a lot of work to be done between now and June 2026.
Now, I asked this question to NDP leader Marit Stiles last week. Last year, or the 2022 election had a 43.53% turnout rate. That was the lowest ever in an Ontario election. What is the Liberal plan to get voters more engaged, particularly young voters, those 18 to 40-year-olds, 18 to 45, who may be disenfranchised by politics? What is your plan to get A, voter turnout, and B, youth voter turnout out for your party?
It's a conundrum. Louie, you're quite right. Voter turnout is on the decline, but people do vote when they're engaged, and they do vote when we're inspired. And what I do know is they vote handedly to vote out a government. And we've seen that in the past, and I expect we're going to see that in 2026. People are tired of this corrupt government that has turned their backs on average Ontarians. So I know they're going to come out and vote. But we need to engage them with issues that matter to them, and specifically the younger voters that more typically stay at home and are not apathetic, but they don't feel that their vote matters. So we need to ensure that we speak to them about issues that matter to them and tell them that their vote does matter and they do make a difference, and a critical difference. They could be a very large voting bloc if they turned out. Right now, we know that seniors vote and older adults vote, but we need to engage the youth. And it means speaking to them about issues that matter to them, like their careers, like their future, like the prospect of owning a home, like what the economy will look like, and to give them opportunities to grow and to thrive. So, and the one issue I know that they're all very passionate about is the defining issue for our young people, and that's climate change. And what's our plan as a Liberal government to address the effects of climate change? So those are the issues that will matter to Ontarians, and I know they'll be galvanized to come out and vote when they want to vote out a government, and I think that's what they're going to do in 2026.
You worked with a young Justin Trudeau when you were an MP back in the day. Are you concerned that the low numbers of the federal Liberals will hurt the provincial party at all? So, not at all. I mean, certainly there will be a different election cycle. The federal government will go to an election in 2025, and ours is in 2026. And you know what? I'm focused on my own issues. We're a different party. We deal with different issues that matter to Ontarians, like affordable housing, affordability generally, like healthcare, making it accessible to them when they need it, seniors care, addressing the needs of our seniors, education, climate change. Those are the issues I'm focused on. Federal government are focused on different issues as well, and their election cycle will be different. Appreciate your answer on that question, Ms. Crombie. And I appreciate the time today. As mentioned, your first day in 10 years, first work day not as mayor of Mississauga, and you spent it with us here on Newsmakers, so I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you very much, Ms. Crombie.
Thank you for having me today, Louie, and have a great day. I'm feeling refreshed and emboldened and really exhilarated. This is going to be a great challenge, and I'm up for it. Liberals are back.
Best of luck. There you go. Ms. Crombie, my thanks to her for joining me. And one more time, Doug Ford, I have reached out. I am still awaiting your reply, but you are more than welcome to join us this month as we check in with the Ontario leaders and their respective parties. But there's the invitation there for you, Mr. Ford. All right. Once again, thanks for joining us. My thanks to Laura Brody for directing today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe. From all of us here at CHCH, I'm Louie Butko. Have a great day.